suddenly it's like something opens and I see everything as it happened then.
It is the nature of dance to exist for but a moment. Yet once there was something called the Ballet Russe, which for more than 50 years created some of the most extraordinary ballet the world had ever seen. Performed by some of the most legendary dancers ever to have taken the stage.
Everybody, come on the stage! Mia! Are you ready for a surprise? At 83?
I love you.
Look, it's useless trying to get lines and stuff. Would you stand with somebody and look good?
Here on this stage, in the Orpheum, an assembly of the greatest dancers of the greatest companies of the 20th century. Please welcome them.
They were called the Ballet Russe. They were Russians who never danced in Russia, refugees in Europe who became international stars. And in the end, they were Americans who created audiences for dance where before there had been none. Theirs is the story of the birth of modern ballet. Ballet as we know it today. A story that begins in the late 1920s in Paris with a group of little Russian girls who dreamt of a life in dance.
All of us, the Russian girls, was very poor at that time because my family and many other Russian family lost everything during the revolution. Yes, I'm third generation of dancers. My mother was a dancer and my grandmother was a soloist with Bolshoi Ballet. So when I was a little, they tell a 2-year-old, I already danced around and dancing. I always wanted to dance, always.
I never wanted to dance because I never seen anyone dance. I never seen a ballet performance. I didn't know what ballet was. When we left Russia, like so many refugees, we lived in very difficult conditions. But at the age of 7, my mother took me by the scruff of the neck and took me to get some ballet lessons. And I didn't like it. It was much more fun in the factory yard, climbing trees and throwing stones at each other. But one didn't argue with my mother.
My mother as well. There were so many Russian refugees in Paris, and every family who had children wanted their child to learn ballet. So we went to Preobrazhenska. She was one of 3 very good teaching studios directly from the Imperial Ballet School. I was about 8 at the time. She lifted my skirt up, looked at the knees, and she said, "Your knees will have to be stretched." And she looked at my back and she said, "Your back is very good, it's straight. Yes, you can come to classes."
I was taken to Madame Preobrazhenska and I was terrified. It's the first time I saw a real studio. Mirror, bars, lots of students. Tumanova were doing her fouettes like mad. And little by little, it caught my interest because, you know, it's not easy. It's difficult to do those things. So, you know, I was good climbing trees. I'm going to be good at that too.
Though the little Russian girls worked hard to perfect their technique, in late 1929, their future in dance held little promise. For the only grand ballet company in all of Europe had just collapsed. Sergei Diaghilev's Ballet Russe. Diaghilev was a Russian exile in Paris, who for 20 years had led a creative revolution that brought together the most brilliant artists of his day. Nijinsky, Balanchine, Stravinsky, Picasso, Matisse, and Ravel were but a few who collaborated with Diaghilev to create the distinctive Ballet Russe style. Groundbreaking production.